President Trump, meantime, sitting down with Judge Jeanine Pirro here on Fox News Channel. The conversation turning to fired FBI Director James Comey. The president danced around this question.
What about the idea that in a tweet you said that there might be tape recordings?
Well, that I can't talk about. I won't talk about that. All I want is for Comey to be honest, and I hope he will be, and I'm sure he will be, I hope.
Charlie Hurt is the opinion editor at The Washington Times and a Fox News contributor. Thank you, Charlie, for talking to us. What did you make, first of all, of President Trump's tweet hinting at tapes and those who interpret it as a threat?
Well, I think clearly it was sort of a sly strategy on the president's part to try to send fire a rocket over Jim Comey's bow to make sure that in the days going forward that that he does try to play fast and loose with their conversations. It's clearly very important to the president that he make this point that Jim Comey has on, as he says, 3 different occasions said that no, Mr. President, you're not a particular target of the FBI investigation. And I think he kind of wanted to just sort of make it known that there might be consequences if Jim Comey tried to dispute that.
Okay, but he mentions tapes, and I mean, that's just not a word you throw out there unless the conversation was taped. I mean, it's sort of like his tweet when he talked about President Obama wiretapping him. Then they later kind of dialed back on that and said, well, we didn't necessarily mean that the phones were tapped, but that there was surveillance. Right. I mean, you can't use words like this and expect for us not to just, I don't know, to walk away from them and not to pay attention to them. And the word tapes means that the conversation was possibly taped.
Right. Yeah, and I think that that's probably why we've heard Sean Spicer since then, and then with Judge Jeanine, the president himself trying not to talk about it anymore, but because I think in his mind the message has been sent.
This is why I feel you know, if the president were to just stay off of Twitter, and I understand that's how he communicates with his loyal followers, and there are millions of them, but at the same time, you can't do that and then expect us not to talk about it. The whole reason you're doing that is because people are going to talk about it. So I don't know which he wants us to do, but I got to talk about it.
But I think that what that points up is just how important it was for him, because he had to know that this would be a topic of conversation for days and weeks following. I think that it underscores just how much he wanted to make sure that that message got made to Jim Comey. But the other point that I do think that is important to remember is
he could have texted him. Just saying.
He could have texted him, indeed, but I don't think it would have been nearly as powerful.
Hey, FYI, you better watch out.
But
go ahead.
Exactly. But I do think it's it's worth remembering that, I certainly don't walk around the White House or walk around Congress ever thinking that my calls are not being recorded by somebody. When you look at the calls that we've seen lately, whether it's General Mike Flynn or the conversation that Donald Trump had with Australia's Prime Minister in the first days of office that got leaked by the State Department to reporters. And then the most amazing case, I think, it was former Congressman Dennis Kucinich, who had his calls from his office in Congress with a foreign leader. They were recorded and later leaked to the Washington Times, to my paper, and relayed back to him. And he believes absolutely that that was done by the previous administration. And so, the idea that there's all sorts of taping of phone calls all over town going on right now, I think it's almost
digital world, it's
very,
very easy to tape a phone conversation. All you have to do is have an iPhone, and we know that Donald Trump keeps his iPhone very close to his pocket. But let me ask you regarding, now some Democrats are actually saying that there is a very strong case for obstruction of justice against Trump, if indeed this recording took place. Congressman Gerald Nadler said in an interview on Friday that Trump's dismissal of FBI Director James Comey and subsequent tweet that Comey better hope that their conversations weren't taped actually adds up to a strong case that Trump tried to obstruct justice. Your thoughts?
I don't really see the connection there, because if anything, what that threat or what that persuasive technique by the president would do would just simply ensure that Comey say what was true and not say something that wasn't true. So Comey speaking truthfully, I don't see how that is in any way an obstruction of how in any way that would obstruct justice.
Okay. I mean, in normal circles, though, if you're going to tape a recording, you're supposed to tell that person. In fact, in some states, it's illegal. It's different, obviously, in the White House, and I agree. If you're going to step into an Oval Office or anywhere in that White House, you better think that there's cameras on you. And by the way, we've recorded this entire interview. I just want to be very, very open and clear.
I didn't realize that. I
just wanted you to. Oh, and we have a couple people watching as well. That's all. Charlie.
Off the record.
Yeah, totally off the record. Thank you
Julie.
so much for this off the record interview.